Good evening, everybody. Well, evening where I'm at. Thanks for tuning in for this week's kind of perspective on one of the attitudes. And I thought about today, and I'm like, which one do I want to talk about? I mean, if you haven't guessed yet, I kind of have a schedule for what I like to talk about. Um, but there's always this will date a little bit. Like elections were yesterday, the craziness in the United States right now, and all this fun stuff. So. We'll date a little bit, but that's okay. But looking at it, I was having a conversation with Debbie, when we started talking about like money, and I'm doing a class for her this weekend with a group of her people. Asking me today, kind of what's the process, kind of go through when you work with groups and all that, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, here's what we can do. As this conversation evolved, right? There was also another event that we helped. Do some selling at. We talked about pricing because pricing always comes up when I talk to her about money, right? And it's looking at uh, kind of looking at buying habits of people and what they buy and what they don't buy into. And if you look at if you have clients that ever come back and say, hey, I want a refund when they purchase services from you, or they might dispute. God, they might dispute some of the charges. I don't know if you ever had that happen. Um, or when you like propose new rates, clients come back and say like, I don't know, that's kind of out of my budget. Like, what's the deal, and all that fun stuff. Um, and it made me think because Debbie said something. I can't even remember what she said. Right, and this is the important part because I want to be coherent somewhat, right? And she said something, and before she could even she's like, and it's just I think she's gonna say like story or something like about like, why people like use money as an excuse. Saying, hey, I can't pay this, or I don't want to pay this, or I don't need to renegotiate, or I bought the service, and now I want a refund, somewhere along those lines, right? And they say because of money, or even in the sales, right? And I talked about there's a video somewhere here where I talk about sales and opportunity and whatnot, but they'll use money as an excuse. Now, my firm and fast response to every time someone brings up money is that's not true. It's a little bit harsh, and people get taken back a little bit, and they're like, but no, Joe, it is. But I'm like, is it really? Is it really that money is always our issue from why we choose to do or not do things? Now, people use it as the excuse. I want to dive a little deeper into that tonight because right? At the end of the day, if you look at the attitude of neutrality, I don't talk about this a whole lot because there's other things that are a little more important for our foundation, but if we move this up kind of a little level to talk about the attitude of neutrality, the attitude of neutrality says money is not good or bad. It's not good or evil. Money simply is a resource in which we use in our lives. If you can't grasp that because we've been taught so much that, money's bad, and there's scriptures in the Bible, and people say stuff all the time about money, and we a lot of times will associate people's actions with money, right? Because they did it for the money. Well, that's still a lie as well. I just want to call that out. So when you start saying to yourself, it's because I can't afford it or because of that, that's really actually a lie that you continue to tell yourself over and over and over. Because money is not the one to blame. Money's not good or evil, it's just a resource, right? So if that's the case, then what is it? What's underneath that? What's underneath all those layers to say, hey, if money's neutral, if it's not good or bad, then so-and-so person's not doing it for the money, they're doing it for some other reason, right? We're gonna start to nuance a little bit and put some perspective around why. Now, if we look back at ourselves and say, okay, if money's not good or bad, then why do I blame money when I don't really want to do something? Now, I understand people are going to come at me and say, Joe, what about budgets and like cash flow and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those are things to consider as a business owner. However, if you really want something, you're going to go do what it takes to get it. I see it time and time again. Sell products and services and be like, hey, it's this amount of money. And people first see, the first defense is like, oh, that's a lot. Well, those are the people who really aren't, that's a lot because that's not what you want to spend your money on. That's why it's a lot to you. If you really want to spend your money, you're going to go find the way to make the money. or borrow it from somebody or find some mechanism so you can purchase that experience or that thing. So you really got to ask yourself, if you're continuing to put money in front and say, hey, I don't have this green stuff, I don't have enough money, so I can't do that. I want to start programming in your brains right now. You can hear my voice and say, that's a lie. What is it really about? Because the more you do that, you're going to start to dive deeper into the emotional state of what you think about money. And you're going to start to uncover some very interesting stories. And as you continue to investigate and you figure out what the stories are, then you'll start to understand more about how you think about money. But what we got to do is we got to stop blaming money. It's not good or bad. It's not the thing holding you back from your dreams. Okay? The only thing holding you back from your dreams is you. The only thing holding you back from what you want is you. Because if we really want it, we'll go figure it out. And when we really don't want it, we won't figure it out. So how committed are you to getting what you want? And that's that question you got to ask. Because the more committed you are to getting what you want, the more ways you'll figure out how to make the money work. Because we still have to have money for these things, right? That's the exchange we're using right now. If it was some other form of currency, right? If it wasn't, $100 bills, it would be something else, right? Maybe, I don't know, I have a coaster here. Maybe we'd start exchanging in court coasters. It's like the more of these you have, the more, the wealthy you are. It could be chickens. It could be anything. As societies on this earth, we've exchanged in lots of different things. So again, back to that question. Money's not good or bad. The attitude neutrality teaches us that. We're not good or bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not pushing back on you, but I have to say, quit blaming the lack of what you want on money. Go figure it out. But ask yourselves again, why not? What is it below that level? Start asking yourself and questioning and challenging yourself. Because it could be, hey, I just need to take a little more action in my business. And if I did that, I would have the cash flow to be able to get what I want. Oh, hey, I just need to reach out to maybe, 5 people this week. Start, using go watch my attitude of consistency videos. How can we become more consistent in what we're trying to do? There are lots of other things you can do. The one thing that I would highly recommend you don't do is continue to blame money for what you don't have. Because it's not true. It's not real. For a small group of people out there, it is real. For the people watching this video, it's not real. Okay? So don't put yourself in the category of the people who can't. Put yourself in the category of people who can and who are willing. And as soon as you do that, you will start doing the other things necessary to generate more income. And as you create more income, then the things you want will come faster. So if you have any questions about this attitude neutrality, and these things, let me know. Comment in the video below. I want to hear what it is. Like, what's stopping you? And if it's a little too, if you're really looking at this, watching this video, and you're like, oh, Joe, that's a little too, personal to put in this thing, email me. My email's out there. I send you guys newsletters every week. Respond to it. Say, hey, Joe, this is what came up for me. I want to have conversations. Y'all just aren't sending me emails and communication to be like, hey, Joe, what about? So if it comes up, I can even rephrase that when it comes up. Let me know, because I'm always curious to see what it is that comes up for you. Because again, it's not money, it's you. And so let's figure out what that is, and your life will change. So let me know. Until next week, see ya.